On this episode, we put a price on being a nerd. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Nerd Talk. Now, my name is Adam Porters, and I have a juicy one for you today. Now, the internet is full of lists that tell you the best of things, lists that tell you the worst of things, the oddest of things, the weirdest of things, the grossest of things, you name it. There's a list out there because, let's be honest, clickbait. It's all clickbait. It's all to sell you stuff. And I found something that was clickbaity. Somebody actually posted this up in my Facebag group. For those of you unaware, Facebag is what I call Facebook because it's like a trough where you go and feed off of the BS information from your friends and family and all that kind of good stuff. So I'm going through the Facebag. I see this post and I was like, this I gotta check out. This is a post from Ranker.com. Now, if you're not aware of what Ranker.com is, it's pretty much a place to sell banner ads and pop-up ads and give you useless, mindless crap to go through. Hopefully, you'll click on one of the big giant ads and start to give them mounds and mounds of revenue. So the article I came across is the most worthless 90s collectibles you spent money on. The author of this article is Rune Kincaid, and it reads as follows. The 90s were an interesting time to be a collector. The internet was gaining steam, and suddenly it was easier than ever for buyers and sellers to connect. Price guides like Wizard and Beckett were among the staples in their industry, and people were just starting to realize that the junk they'd accumulated in preceding decades had become rare, desirable, and valuable. So this article goes through and talks about some of the things in the 90s that you bought today that were worthless, that were big, giant, hot items at the time that many people bought to say, hey, these are going to be collectibles. Like the good nerds we are, many of us are also kind of speculators at the same time. I know tons of people that have bought, duplicates of things, myself included, going, hey, I'll keep this one for me, this one to possibly sell, and this one to open and read, or whatever it happens to be. These things happen all the time. And so this article goes on to tell us about some of the things that you nerds spent money on that you shouldn't have. Let's take a look at the list. So you got things you didn't hold on to, your Nintendos and things of that nature. Next up on the list is baseball cards. So they covered several different types of cards in this. Baseball cards, hockey cards, basketball cards. They could have made the list shorter by just saying sports cards, because sports cards in the 90s were, I don't want to say a dime a dozen. That would make it seem like it was more expensive than it was. You could throw a rock and hit, some sports card stuff in the 90s. It was pretty much the worst time ever, and you had clear and foil and all this other crap that they threw in there. There were abundance of them, and they were abundantly crappy. Up next is, of course, the ubiquitous comic books and everything. I can't say anything to that. I bought tons of comic books, especially in the 90s and the big bad boom of Image and all that kind of stuff. We all bought things, and again, in several different pairs, because why? We're nerds. Up next, of course, is action figures, a staple in any nerd's vocabulary. You also got things like Pogs. You remember Alf? He's back, and in Pog form. Beanie Babies, that was another thing that was hot for about 5 minutes. Autographed baseballs and sports memorabilia in general. Everyone thought, ooh, I'm going to get this baseball signed. I mean, Todd McFarlane himself, I think, paid $1 million for one of Mark McGwire's baseballs and everything way back in the day. And I think, and I'm a crap sports guy, but I think Sammy Sosa just, kind of upped him right after that. Boy, McFarlane had to feel stupid. But he got that McFarlane money, so I think he'd be all right. Pokemon cards, another big one. How many of you out there were looking for that elusive holographic Charizard card? I know you were. For some reason, they had porn on this list. I don't know who collected porn for anything other than what it was meant to be collected for. For some reason, Tamagotchis hit the list. I don't remember if any Tamagotchis, Gigapets, whatever, the weird brand name that you had for them. I can't remember those actually being a thing that people were like, these are going to be valuable someday. The thing I want to talk about today is one of the things that we liked here in the Porters household very, very much. Other than comic books, we love comic books to a giant degree, and we're more so movie collectors these days. But back in the day, if it had comics and it had cards, we were never really sports cards collectors. But one of the things that this list says is absolutely a worthless waste of time and money was comic book cards. comic book cards. These things were really cool back in the day. Hold on. Ah! Comic book cards were great. I loved them back in the day. We had so many different choices here. We got them all in different books and stuff like this. There's Spider-Man ones. Come on, you got, speaking of McFarlane, there he is right there. And, oh, they hold up so well over the years. Just listen to that. Oh, just listen to that. Oh, I think that's called valuable. That's the sound of valuable things coming through. 95 Fleer Ultra X-Men. Look at that gorgeousness. You know you remember all this crap. Got some Marvel Metal Fleer 1994, 1995 kind of stuff going on here. Again, all this crap, you remember it. 93, 94 Marvel Masterpieces. Oh, here's some OG ones right here. Early 90s, 91, 92, I think probably even 93. Marvel Collector's Card. Oh, I know you remember these. But these were great. I love these when you had the big kind of sets that made like a big giant picture and stuff that you could lay out and everything. You want to see a nice, sad little bit of trivia back from good old 1991? Here's a little Adam Portrait drawing of an X-Men cover. I think X-Men, just as comic book cards. Did it and thing. Oh, I got so much better, so much faster. What? 1992. Oh, look at poor little Adam doing his best to try to be an artist. Boy, I'm glad I got way better than that. I'm still not good, but I got better than that. They weren't just localized to comic books either. We got things like your Jurassic Park. Yes, Jurassic Park had cards. Absolutely. Of course it did. Why would it not? It was a thing that happened in the 90s. It was 94. Of course you're going to have, cards for this, that, and everything. And it was all the big players. It was your Marvel and all that kind of stuff. Skybox put out a whole bunch of crap like this. Oh, here we go. Here comes some fun stuff. I saw one. Look at this. Look at it. Look at all them holofoils. It's tough to catch in the light, but boom, boom, they're glistening. You got your Hulk thing, Wolverine, all this kind of good stuff. And, of course, duplicates. Why? You have to have duplicates. You have to have several different sets of all this crap. And it wasn't just the major big boys either. It was like all of your crazy wild ones as well. We got your Babylon 5s. We got your Image Universe cards. These things were abundant and plentiful. It was the 90s. We had more cards than we had any idea what to do with. We got Wildstorm, Deathmate, Deathwatch 2000. The card market was unbelievable. Of course, we had some DC cards and stuff as well. DC didn't do as much as Marvel and the other guys, but I think Marvel had kind of the lock on stuff. This one has like Cosmic Teams, Cosmic Cards. You just put the word Cosmic on it and throw some DC jazz in there. They're bound to get it somehow. Do you think this is a waste of money? I think a lot of people would say, hey, the time and energy and money that you invested in this in the first place would absolutely be a waste of money. Like I said, I know that a lot of nerds out there are very speculative type people. I've done it myself, so I get it. But at the same time, too, I think most of us, when it comes down to it, probably would have never sold the stuff that we were kind of, holding for speculation anyways, because it holds a special place in our heart. All of these cards may not be worth anything dollar-wise, but I can look back at these cards at any time and think of a moment in time and space encapsulated into, a book full of just little pieces of cardboard with art scribbled on them. The chase to get the complete set. The going through the little tiny checklist thing that you had on the back. Finding that rare, Jim Lee signed card that, you had to send in for or whatever. The holographic Wolverine card that was like worth $80 back in the day or some such nonsense. We got those things thinking that we were going to be making a lot of money one day, but when it really comes down to it, were any of us actually going to sell those things? Of course not. That would be ridiculous. And honestly, unless you got into some sort of weird dire straits and stuff, you held on to this stuff for dear life. I think most nerds have a section of their house that's just dedicated to the crap that for some reason or another we can never really throw away. And I think in a lot of cases, while it may not be worth anything as far as monetarily, as far as sentimental and being able to cement yourself in a place and time, they're pretty much invaluable, man. So what have you guys got? What do you have that is just this nerdy thing that you either A, thought was going to be super, super valuable one day, or B, just really wanted to collect because you wanted to collect it. And, you know, if it's worth money, would you sell it? If it's not worth money, do you care that it's not worth money? Even though you went, you know, searching high and low for this thing, you may have paid an extraordinary amount of money for it, and today it's worth next to nothing. Does that bother you? Let me know in the comments down below. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw today, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. Why don't you while you're there? Thank you so much, and I will see you guys tomorrow.